Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with Dan Servadidio filling in for James Grande here today. We are breaking down the 4-game slate we have over on DraftKings and FanDuel this evening, kicking off at 6:10 p.m. It was a big day slate here for Labor Day. If you're just tuning in, you might say, didn't I just see this show? Dan and I were on the Better Sports Betting Show just a little while ago talking about our favorite bets of the day. Brian Wu over 2.5 earned. That one cashed already. Reds laying in to Wu here. We'll see what happens. Merrill Kelly throwing a one-hitter. So maybe we can get a couple more winning plays for the betting show to transfer over to this 4-game DFS slate. Dan, man, how we doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, the should have listened to you and put those bets in while I could, because looking pretty good on the early slate so far.
Yeah, all the time prepping for the DFS slate, the research, everything you do. We say this all the time. Your research is transferable. Just because you're a sports bettor, you're looking at the same numbers, you're looking for the same odds, you're looking for the same edges. So I did the MLB DFS playbook today, and I'm doing all the research, and I'm like, oh no, Brian Wu, not going to be a good day for this man.
Yeah.
And 5 earned already, allowed, I think maybe even more at that point. So Dan and I are going to break down the 4-game slate here. It'll be a little bit of a quicker show because it's just 4 games here today. So if you do have your questions, get them in here early in the chat. We'll be more than happy to help you guys out. Before we do break down the DFS slate, though, per usual here, we got to give a shout out to RT Sports, our friends over at rtsports.com. Use promo code ALARM23 when you go to rtsports.com/alarm. New users will get a 100% deposit match with their first deposit. Time of the day where we go ahead and give out our favorite RT Sports DFS pick'em plays of the day. Got the RT Sports board here on slate. Again, Dan, you and I just did some favorite bets over on the Better Sports Betting Show. We had some player props mixed in there. We had a couple of matchups we definitely were looking to target. What's your first prop here today for the RT Sports DFS pick'em?
Yeah, I'll throw out Trey Turner going for more than 1.5 total bases. He's got Rich Hill on the mound, which this is a great matchup, I think, for the Phillies offense overall. And Turner's coming in hot. He's hitting 364 over the past month, hitting 414 over the past 7 games. It's been a home run power surge lately. Got 6 home runs over his last 7, 9 homers over the last 15. The guy is just not cooling off right now. This is the old Trey Turner. So I'm going with Turner to stay hot tonight. Good BVP numbers against Rich Hill, too, in his career. So I like that righty on lefty matchup for him. Yeah,
I like that for sure. For me, I'm going to complete the 2-pick play here. Angels are throwing lefty Kenny Rosenberg out there on the mound. Now, Dan, during the Better Sports Betting Show, you threw a couple stats out there. The man had like an 8 ERA over his final handful of starts at AAA. One thing we know about the Baltimore Orioles is they have some guys that can hit lefties. Notably, Ryan Mountcastle is a guy that hammers left-handed pitching. So I'm going to go Ryan Mountcastle more than the 1.5 total bags here this evening. So we have Trey Turner, 1.5, more than 1.5 total bases. Ryan Mountcastle, more than 1.5 total bases here for tonight's RT Sports DFS Pick'em contest. Go chance to 3x your money. Again, go to rtsports.com/alarm. Promo code ALARM23. New users will get that 100% deposit match with their first deposit. So then head on over to RT Sports, take advantage. They have their DFS Pick'em tournaments. They also have their best ball and fantasy football championship still going on. Season kicks off Thursday, so you can get in on that action. Their fantasy football championship is a $500,000 grand prize. So if you want a shot at $500,000 simply by playing some fantasy football, go to rtsports.com, join their fantasy football championship contest there today. Turning the page back over to our DFS slate here, breaking down the DraftKings 4-gamer, as we mentioned here. Some of these totals, Dan, looking at matchups between Minnesota, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, San Diego, Baltimore, LA. We looked at some of the game spreads earlier today. Anyone in particular stand out as all right, big favorite here, high run total, maybe we should just be looking to stack or target a certain matchup?
I mean, the Orioles against Rosenberg for sure stands out right away. You just outlined the Orioles offense against Rosenberg should definitely put up runs here. So like that's immediately when I'm looking into. Orioles are almost minus 200 favorites in most spots. So that's one obviously for Grayson Rodriguez, good chance at a win there. And then the Phillies Padres game. I think both sides we should see plenty of offense here because the Phillies offense we like against Rich Hill, but the Padres are quietly favored in that game. So we should see runs for the Padres side of things, even against Taijuan Walker. So I think that's for sure. I think both sides of that one. And then maybe the Minnesota Cleveland game is maybe the one to, kind of a sneaky under, I think, for that one. Sure. I know Lopez, I think Giolito can have a decent outing. So, but yeah, those are kind of the ones that stand out.
Yeah, let's go into pitching. You mentioned Giolito. You and I discussed this on the Better Sports Betting Show. You liked the Giolito earned runs prop there under 2.5. What is it about Giolito tonight that you think may make it an appealing DFS play?
Yeah, I just think he's got some really good home numbers this year. And so this is his third team. So obviously the home numbers are from when he was with the White Sox and when he was with the Angels. But overall, just his home road splits are very glaring. And now he's at home again. And he's got really good career numbers in Cleveland, which is something I look for. In 6 career starts in Cleveland, he's got like a 1.6 ERA, which obviously is against the Guardians in the past, but still I think there's something to be said about a guy that's clearly comfortable this year, pitching at home wherever that is, and pitching in Cleveland too in his career. And also he's faced the Twins like 3 times already this year, and he's had success each start. And Twins are a team that's coming in a little bit cold against right-handed pitching. Also a very high strikeout rate, like 27% strikeout rate over the past couple weeks against righties. So I think there's a spot where Giolito, in his 3 starts against the Twins this season, he's had 7+ Ks in each of those. So I think maybe he gives up a couple runs, but I think like the strikeouts could be there for him tonight. Yeah. So I think maybe like an under the radar. People are just he got rocked with the Angels. That did not go well his time there. And they, obviously they put him on waivers. He's getting claimed up here, but I think he could be an under the radar play tonight.
Yeah, again, a guy that I usually find myself, looking to target on just kind of given the way he is, performed this season. But we talk about Minnesota and what do? They hit a lot of home runs. They also strike out a boatload. So Giolito's a guy that has a high strikeout number. And then you pointed out his record against him this year is stellar. Yeah, he's 0-1, but he's only allowed 2 earned runs. He struck out 23 in 18 innings. So if you're looking at a guy that maybe goes a little bit overlooked here, given his struggles overall, then I think Giolito could be an interesting, especially on a small slate. You're trying to figure out ways to be different, places to be different. More people likely going on the opposite side of this matchup with Lopez attacking Cleveland and not necessarily Giolito attacking Minnesota. Could be a spot where maybe you game stack this with pitchers. We talk about that a lot on small slates. It's okay to game stack starting pitching, and see what comes out of it. These 2 pitchers could keep low runs, 2.5 under 2.5 earned for both, go 6 innings, rack up the Ks, and now you're sitting there with some starting pitchers that have some pretty decent numbers. Now Lopez is 10.5. You have Corbin Burns at 10.2 as your 2 guys up over 10K. What are your thoughts here on the Burns matchup against Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh going Ortiz on the mound tonight. Corbin coming off of a really good start against Chicago. He certainly had a little bit of up and down success of late, but 2 starts against Pittsburgh this year looking pretty good against them.
I know. I mean, the matchup against Pittsburgh should be one you immediately like for Burns. And again, this is another one that Burns should get the win. There's a good chance of getting the win tonight if the Brewers give him enough run support, which I think they should. So yeah, I would lean. The Lopez price is very high, but I think you're higher on him than me. Maybe. Do you like Lopez over Burns? Because immediately I see Burns being cheaper, and I would probably lean towards him. But you like Burns, right?
But I think Burns has a higher upside for strikeouts because again, Cleveland just does not strike out. It doesn't matter who they're facing; they just have a very low strikeout rate. Minnesota obviously is a favorite in this game here, but I think Milwaukee and Burns is the way I would go. I'd save the $300 and probably pitch Corbin Burns if I'm picking one of the top guys. I think the obvious chalk tonight is going to be Grayson Rodriguez at 72. I think a lot of people
so cheap
are just going to start their lines with Rodriguez here, coming off of a 6-inning 1-hitter against the White Sox, 6 innings 3 earned against Toronto, 7 innings 1 earned against the Padres there. Basically, since his recall, he's been very effective for the Orioles here. And you're right, the fact that he's only 7,200 feels like it's just going to make him a very popular initial plug to your lineup, and then you figure out where you're going to go with your SB2 today.
Yeah, I mean, 4 straight quality starts for him. He's got, I think, a very good chance of getting the win tonight if he goes 5 or 6 very good innings, because the Orioles should give him, again, run support against Kenny Rosenberg for the Angels. So I think there's a good chance at, look at his game logs, and last start he had 28 DK points. 2 starts ago he had 27. I think we're looking at another 25 to 30 DraftKings points performance here from him, easy. And yeah, the value that you're getting at him compared to Burns, Lopez for probably the same production or similar, I think it's pretty glaring that this guy should be chalky.
Yeah, I'm with you there 100%. I think, again, you'll see a lot of lineups. I'm just going to click it now. We're going to build a lineup at the end of the day. We're going to start it with Grayson Rodriguez for sure. We're not playing Rich Hill, Luis Ortiz, Rosenberg, obviously. Any interest in Ty Walker here?
I don't know, because it's like the chances he has at wins, you can see 14 wins on the year. If the amount of chances that he's had at getting the win when he's on the mound, but the Padres higher team total and the fact that they are favored in this game has me looking elsewhere, I think. But again, he's pretty cheap for a potential 20 plus DraftKings points performance, even though he hasn't really done that.
Right.
But I think I'd probably stay away from him on the road. It's really tough to find a second pitcher here outside of Grayson Rodriguez, honestly.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at as well. I think this is a little bit of a tough spot to find an SB2. Again, it's a smaller slate. You're going to have some pretty concentrated rosterships here on this slate because of that. You could see a lot of people just double spend, but I think Grayson is an automatic plug. And then you figure out where you're going to go among these top 3, either Grayson Lopez, Grayson Burns, or Grayson Giolito, and then you kind of move on from there for me. Moving on over to the catcher position here, again, knowing this Rosenberg matchup makes you want to gravitate towards just Baltimore. You have Adley Rutschman. You have JT Realmuto. He was your home run call on the show, so I know you're in on him. $5,400, obviously a pretty steep price tag there, but on a smaller slate, kind of slim pickings on where you're going to go at the catcher position. So this could be a spot where you spend up because you're going to be looking to spend down at other spots.
Yeah, that's the thing with the smaller slates is just the value, especially at catcher, is very consolidated. There's just nothing there really.
Right.
I mean, I'm not really, unless you want to take a chance on Bo Naylor to go deep, or Logan O'Hoppe maybe to go deep. It's just it's really tough. So I think it's between Realmuto and Rutschman, even though obviously they're both way more expensive than the rest of the position.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we'd have to find some value across the board. Probably in the outfield, we'll be able to sneak some value in to try to be able to spend up for the catcher spot. Moving on over to first base, obviously you have Ohtani, you have Harper, even a lefty-lefty. I mentioned Mountcastle for our props play. It just feels like a great spot for him at 46. Alec Boehm's at 44 and a great spot against Rich Hill as well. Josh Naylor back. I know we like Lopez here, but having Naylor back in that lineup certainly helps a little bit. Where are you going in your top half of the first base position?
Yeah, I mean, it's Harper has been on fire too. He's actually been cold the last couple games. I think 0 for the last 3 games, but I expect him to bounce back at some point soon. So maybe people could be off of him, especially he's got worse numbers on the road. So that's something you have to consider in lefty-lefty matchup. So we could be kind of I feel like contrarian high price play, especially because he's right under Ohtani price-wise. But I think, not to keep the Phillies love going, but Boehm has been also a guy he's hitting lefties well this year. I think he, like a little Phillies stack, I think, because you like the Phillies team total over tonight too against Hill. So going with a little mini Philly stack with Turner maybe in there, and you get Bohm.
You can play Bohm at third, which is nice. So it
You get
has that
Bohm at third.
multi-position.
Yeah.
Eligibility.
The first base position, honestly, is kind of ugly though.
It is for
outside
me.
of the top.
My initial looks here were down to Garrett Cooper, hitting the ball really well, 342 lately. It's only $2,600 going against Ty Walker. And like, what did we just look at with Taijuan Walker? He's been fine. The 14 wins are great, but he's got an ERA around 4. He gives up 2 to 3 runs a game. So he's not a perfect pitcher. He's not going to go out there and we don't think shut out the Padres here. And you have Garrett Cooper hitting in the middle of that lineup. If we wanted to spend up at catcher, Cooper at $2,600 certainly makes that a pretty viable play here. We actually have an Orioles lineup, and Santander's not even in the lineup. I'm sorry, not Santander. Rutschman not even in the lineup tonight. McCann is catching, so value play can. We don't have to worry about spending up for Adley. Austin Hayes is leading off. Mountcastle is playing tonight, so we do have that at the very least. So, value.
Mountcastle against lefties, he smashes left-handed pitching, so
he does.
that
and
might
now
be
we don't
the
have
way
to
I look
spend
at
up necessarily on catcher because Adley's gone. Obviously, Real Muto's in a great spot, but now McCann $2,600 is 290, 805 the last 10. That feels like a pretty safe value option for us there. So
I'm going with the Baltimore stack already.
Yeah, well, I think we're gonna plug. We'll talk about it, but I think we're probably gonna plug Bowman at third because I do like that call a lot. Second base position here: Ha-Seong Kim, Bryson Stott, your top guys, Drury, Polanco, Jimenez. A position that doesn't lead to not a lot of great plays tonight. I think Julian against Giolito could be a spot for me to get to. I know you liked Giolito a little bit for his earned run prop and his domination of Minnesota this season, but there's, again, a position that is just lacking something, right?
What was Adam Frazier in that lineup tonight or no?
Let me check. That's a good call. Frazier in there. He is not. They got Mateo, Westberg, Henderson, and Mountcastle. So Westberg's here at 35.
That could be
guy
cheap.
Hitting the ball a little bit.
Yeah, that could be a value. I mean, honestly, Julian, even though I do think Giolito could have a solid outing, I think Julian is a nice cheap play there at 3,400. So, and he's hitting leadoff for the Twins.
Yeah, because if we wanted to do Bohm again, the third base position's fine. Like, I like Gunnar, but it's super expensive. We usually play Machado and Kim against lefties. Brian Hayes has been really good. I don't mind Lewis at 43. But again, the position kind of falls off there. So could do a little stack with Julian and Lewis, or we could go back and just plug Bohm, who I agree. I want to get in some Phillies here. So let's do Julian and Bohm there. Okay. Kind of build as we go for the show here today, Dan. So we got McCann as a value play, Mountcastle. We'll have Julian and Bohm. Head over short where, I mean, now that we're not spending up a catcher, we can just plug Trey Turner in. Right, I mean, no reason.
Listen, I'm fully on board with that.
No reason not to. You mentioned all the numbers here. 7 home runs for Trey Turner over the last 10 games. 381 batting average of a 1,400 OPS. The man that was, an absolute stud during the World Baseball Classic struggled for 2/3 of the year for the regular season to the point that the Phillies dropped him to the 8th spot, and then he's been an absolute lightning rod. Guy might end the season with 30-30, after the way he's been going. Trey Turner 6K feels like an easy plug for me. Obviously, there are some other options you could go to if you wanted to. What are your other shortstop positions for you?
I mean, Mateo was in the lineup tonight, so maybe that's a value if you wanted to keep going with the Orioles at 3,300. But there's not a ton of really good values here. Rengifo, is he batting leadoff for the Angels? Did that lineup come out?
I haven't seen it come out yet.
Or batting. He's been hitting at the top of the order.
Chenal has been the one leading. Chenal's leading off, and Rengifo is actually hitting third tonight.
Rengifo could be a under the radar play if obviously we like Grayson Rodriguez, but a lefty on righty matchup for him.
Yeah.
And he's
Adames
been on
righty has always been a big home run play.
Yeah.
But I mean, it all fails into comparison, I think, to what Trey Turner is capable of doing here.
Mhm.
So let's see if we get some value in the outfield, because again, we need an SP2, and we're looking to spend up a little bit. I mean, if we plug Corbin, we have 38.86 to play, which actually isn't too bad. Lopez is 37, so we have about $3,800. 44 if we went Giolito, but if we got like a good value outfielder.
I'm looking at Mark Canha, 2,500 on DraftKings. He homered yesterday. He's had 18 and 24 in his last 2 games.
I like that.
And at worst, he's giving you maybe 5 DraftKings points at 2,500. That's really cheap.
If we plugged in Corbin there, it gives us 4,500 a play, which is great. Let's see here. We can go Castellanos at 5K. Get us another guy to go against Rich Hill. Now we have a 2-3-5 hitters there against Rich Hill. That feels pretty good. And then let's see. Where would you want to go at the 4,100? What's the outfielders that are jumping out? Hayes is actually leading off for Baltimore tonight, so that could be a spot.
That would be something I look at, actually. I mean, it's either him or honestly Rengifo at 4,100 is not bad. I know you don't really like to play guys that are against your pitcher, but just like how well he's been hitting.
On a slate like this, I'm okay doing it. I'm okay with a hitter versus a pitcher.
But you like Kepler to go deep. That was your home run call. And
it was Kepler was my home run call. 353,000 OPS last 10. So we can go ahead and plug Kepler in here. Again, we have $500 left over to play with. If we didn't want McCann,
if you wanted to go up to Pablo Lopez from Burns.
True, good. We could go up. That's true. Do you like Burns or Lopez more? If you had to pick one.
I'd probably go Burns, but like if you have the room for Lopez, I'm fine with that. So
I feel like Burns just has the strikeout upside.
Yeah.
Trying to see if that $500 does anything for us. Like second was 39. Not really. We're in on Burns, Turner. I think 55. Is there an outfielder 55? No, it'd just be Yelich over Castellanos, which I think I'd rather stick with Castellanos here. So that's a look at the 4 gamers, man. Any other thoughts on tonight's slate? Any other things you want to give out?
Well, one thing I realized going through this, we didn't talk a lot about any Brewers hitters or any Padres hitters, which I feel like those, if we looked at those as like kind of compared to us, contrarian like stacks, especially if people are going to be all on these Orioles bats, and you and me are in the Phillies, but if they go out and Rich Hill just turns back the clock and has a really good outing tonight, then all of a sudden, the lineup could be a little bust. But I mean, the Padres, I just keep going back to them because they are favored at home here against Taijuan Walker. I mean, Walker's not like a shutdown pitcher. I could see him giving up, 4 runs here. And all
pulling up some Walker splits to see where the better option is. I mean, obviously you have Juan Soto. You got the obvious target.
Yeah, Juan Soto, Tatis, if you want to go there.
I mean, I mentioned Garrett Cooper at first. If you wanted to spend all the way down, a good way to get some exposure there. Let's see, versus left-handed hitters, lefties. 229 with a 420, so he's actually doing pretty good against lefties. Righties, it's kind of honestly, he's kind of just average against both. Like he doesn't dominate them, but he doesn't shut them down either. 11 homers allowed to lefties versus 6 to righties. 248 batting average to righties, 229 to lefties. Weighted on base for both is around 300, so like not really like a great split to point to for Ty Walker here as a matchup spot. Does give up 1.5 homers per 9 to lefties. So again, if you maybe like a one-off Soto play, could make sense if you wanted to get some exposure to that game or find some lefties in the Padres lineup. Grisham obviously hitting 9th there. Is Batten a lefty? Batten's a righty. So really Grisham's the only other lefty. Batten's that's surprising, pretty good here. Of late last 10 games. So
I got another value to throw out there. So the only reason I know him better than I probably would as a casual is because I am a Phillies fan. But Christian Pache is back from the injured list, and he just returned. He played yesterday, but his when he was before he got hurt, he was like a really good platoon outfielder for the Phillies. And they play him with Brandon Marsh, and Pache is the right-handed hitter against left-handed pitching this year. So he's got Rich Hill. He's hitting 395 on the year, and he's got a 711 slugging percentage.
So I'm fine making the swap from
2100 on
from Marcana. That's fine by me.
And he's in. You can kind of do like a mini wraparound stack, I guess, with the Phillies.
I love the wraparound stacks. That actually just opened it up for me because I like Santander, Mountcastle going right up against one another. So that allows me to go up from Kepler to Santander.
There you
with
go.
the Pache from Canna. So now we have a 4-man Philly stack, 3-man Baltimore stack, and a 1-off Eduardo Julian going with Burns and Grayson Rodriguez here for the 4-gamer this evening.
And another one for Pache. So they brought him off the bench sometimes in late innings, with that platoon.
Yeah.
But when he started games, so when he in the starting lineup this year, 419 batting average, 1165 OPS for him this year.
He's pretty decent
when he's starting against left-handed pitching. So could be a little spark plug there.
I like it. I like it a lot there. So again, recapping here the lineup for everybody, and we appreciate you all. Those of you who tuned in here, just the 4-gamer today. It's a little bit of a quick show. We'll be back tomorrow. Full 10 games on tap. So we'll have the full hour stream for everybody to get rocking on a Tuesday. But Grayson Rodriguez, Corbin Burns, James McCann, Ryan Mountcastle, Eduardo Julian, Alec Boehm, Trey Turner, Christian Pache, Nick Castellanos, and was it Antonio Santander? I can't remember. Antonio Santander, I think it is. Anthony Santander. Yeah, there you go. I couldn't remember. Santander at $4,400 to round out the lineup. Sherwin, thanks for joining me here today, man. Little back-to-back shows, you and I together.
Yeah, it's been good. Short
we'll be seeing
slate,
a lot more of you on the DFS show as we fill in for James for the next couple of weeks. We got you, we got Colby Conway, we got Mark Pitts, Henry Wilson, all combined in here to do some coverage for James while he is on leave here. So happy to have you with us here. Stay tuned with us for the rest of the week. We'll be back tomorrow. But for tonight, everybody, good luck, and we'll catch you all later.